Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In this video, we've got a story from Am I the A-hole with a huge update, and one from Malicious Compliance. So if you want to go ahead and get started with the stories, just use the timestamps below the video. Now, let's get started with the first story. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user GreenSmile8008. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my college fund? I, 19 female, have an aunt, Amy, 38 female, who I love and she loves me dearly. It's never been explicitly stated, but between my sister, Kim, 17, and I'm the favorite. I didn't really notice I was around my early teens, but whenever I had an event, my aunt would always try to be there, while she was never there for anything my sister did. I got nicer presents, there are pictures of me in her house, and she texts and calls me regularly. She barely acknowledges my sister, and I never knew why. One of the reasons why it took so long for me to notice was because whenever someone would mention something about the different treatment, our mom would brush it off. And since Amy was my paternal aunt, I just accepted it. Fast forward to now, and my mom sat me down and asked me if I would be willing to go to a less expensive school so I could have extra money to share with Kim. Aunt Amy set up a fund for me and my two cousins, but didn't have a dime for Kim. She did this with Kim looking at me for an answer and got upset that I didn't give a definite yes. She accused me of not caring about her just like Aunt Amy and is refusing to speak to me until I give her half the money. I thought that this was wildly unfair and asked my parents why they didn't have their own fund for Kim since Aunt Amy was taking care of me. They said that they did, but it wasn't as much as what Aunt Amy had for me. She's a smart woman who makes a lot of money, and admitted that they had to dip into it to help pay for things when my dad wasn't working because of COVID. I feel bad for Kim, but I don't want to sacrifice my future college experience for it. Am I really being so maliciously selfish? Well, OP, this is a very weird situation, but straight out from the information that you give us, I would say you are not the a-hole. I would say your mom is the a-hole for putting you on the spot right in front of your sister, which is not cool. And your sister is reacting negatively to this because of course it's also her future, but it's not right for them to demand that you give up your money in order to benefit your sister. Now, having said that, I don't feel that is a proper judgment because I think there's some information missing that you might not be aware of. My big question is, what did Kim do to your Aunt Amy? Something must have happened that she singled her out because she's helping you and your cousins, but she refuses to acknowledge Amy's existence. So there's something weird here because your sister is 17 years old. She must have done something incredibly horrible for your aunt to not want to do anything with her, right? But what could it be? She's only 17 years old. And also the fact that whenever you guys bring it up, your mom is the one to brush it off. It's just weird. Something's missing here. So again, from the information that you give us, I would say, no, you are not the a-hole, but your aunt could be the a-hole, but I think there's something missing. What do you guys think? What is your judgment of this situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Illustrious Band 537 says, not the a-hole. Amy can do what she likes with her money, and you should be able to go to whichever school you choose. However, I'm surprised your parents haven't called Amy on this. If it was me, I'd need a sit down with Amy and ask her outright why there's favorites. And Dopey responds, that's something I've started to ask now that I'm aware. My aunt always said that she loved her siblings' children equally, and whenever Kim complained growing up, my parents would brush it off. Masked Mayhem says, everybody sucks here. You knew there was favoritism. You witnessed the favoritism, and it's quite hard to believe you didn't take advantage of that favoritism. Let's be real for a minute. That being said, it was given to you, and it's yours to do with as you please. Your aunt is a giant a-hole, and so are your parents for not being objective enough to see it when it started. Your sister will resent you. She's right to do so because you took advantage of the situation instead of calling it out and possibly having to share many years ago. You reap what you sow. Socks Gone Wrong says, you are the a-hole. Yes, of course you have no obligation to share your fund. It's within every right to go to the more expensive school and to have your parents figure it out. However, I don't know how you could morally be okay with accepting all of this money, fully aware there was favoritism, and your sister continues to get the crappy end of everything. If I had the opportunity to help my little sister, damn right I'd split it with her. OP's edit to add. Hey everyone, sorry I haven't been responding. I had to run out and do some errands, but I wanted to address some questions and comments. 1. Growing up, I did notice that Aunt Amy had a bigger presence in my life, and she always had some excuse for not being in Kim's. Example, I have to work, I had prior commitment that I can't back out of, I'm sick, etc. 2. Yes, growing up I do recall that every now and then, me, my cousins, or my sister would ask why Aunt Amy treated 3 out of the 4 of us differently, and the adults would act like we were being ridiculous or just brush it off. I always took this as us kids just making stuff up and would trust that my parents, uncle, uncle's wife, or my paternal grandparents would step in and do something about it. Now that I'm older and starting to look back at things, I can now get a better understanding that it was indeed favoritism. 3. No, it has never crossed my mind that I may be my aunt's secret daughter. It also wouldn't explain why she spends time with me and my cousins, but leaves out Kim. If all of the attention was just on me, I'd be more inclined to believe it, but for now, no. 4. I'm not gonna rule it out 100%, but I'm gonna say no to Kim and me having different dads. I am older than her and my parents were already married when I was born. I don't believe that Kim is an affair baby because it doesn't explain why only my aunt Amy treats her differently. If my entire paternal side treated Kim differently, I would feel more inclined to believe it. 5. In regards to the fund itself, I've never actually seen it, but I know it's there because my aunt says it's there, and my twin cousins are already in college using it. I'm not sure about the rules of the fund because I just trust my aunt, but I will look into it. 6. I'm not saying that I'm unwilling to share any of the money. I just don't want to give up half because I really want to go to my school of choice, which is out of state and will be more expensive. 7. One of the main reasons why I was so reluctant was because I felt put on the spot and was being cornered and pressured for an answer, which I resent. Edit to add 2. Even though I was out running errands, I've given it a lot of thought and think having a sit down with the adults in my life to figure this out may be what's best. Well, the community seems to be all over the place between not the a-hole, everybody sucks here, and you're the a-hole. However, not the a-hole got the majority of votes, so it has been deemed not the a-hole. With the additional information that OP has given us in the edits, I am more inclined to thinking that something's just not right here. There's something that doesn't add up. However, we are going to discover what's going on in the update, which is coming up now. Hey everyone, thanks for the not the a-hole and everybody sucks here comments. I decided to take your advice and check to see if I could even give Kim any money, and the answer is no. Technically, the money is in my aunt's name, and it's just designated for me. Yes, I know this was kinda stupid to not check before. Apparently, there's an understanding that whatever money I have left over, my aunt would just give to me, so my mom's plan was to convince me to go to a cheaper school and convince and trick my aunt into giving the extra money to Kim. A plan that she waited until a month before I'm supposed to go to college. I'm starting a year late because of COVID to get me to agree to it. So apparently, my mom wanted me to either spend a semester at my dream school, then transfer, or not go at all and start the application process all over again. My dad was aware of my mom's idea and was against it, and instead wanted to try and replenish the money themselves. They got into an argument and Kim blamed me for it. Also, whoever said Kim wasn't my dad's bio kid, you were right and wrong at the same time, because my mom didn't give birth to her. I tried asking my parents and grandparents what the deal was between Kim and my aunt, but they wouldn't say. Other people's comments were starting to get to me, so I borrowed a friend of a friend's phone and sent a text to myself saying that Kim wasn't really my sister, and took a screenshot and sent it to each of them separately to see what everyone would say. It was like throwing a grenade in the family because everyone freaked out and I was finally told the family secret. Kim's biological mother is Aunt Amy, and her bio dad is my mom's half-brother, who's estranged from the family. I can't get into the details here, but I will say that the man was a monster, and when my aunt found out she was pregnant, my grandparents pressured her into just putting Kim up for adoption. There were complications during labor, and my aunt was told she couldn't have any more kids. Kim was barely a year old when CPS approached my parents to adopt her. My mom didn't want to get pregnant again, but wanted another child, so she and my dad adopted Kim, and my aunt was furious. She literally didn't speak to the whole family for years. When she came back, she made it clear to everyone that Kim was my parents' child, and she wanted nothing to do with her. My grandparents felt bad for how they treated my aunt and supported this decision. Everyone did, and secretly hoped my aunt would come around. I'm blown away, and now everyone is asking me to help maintain the secret because it's better to have an aunt that doesn't like you rather than have a mom who never wanted you to be born. While I do think that may be easier, I don't see how this is something that can stay secret forever. I haven't spoken directly to my aunt about this yet, but from what I was told, she's fine with Kim never knowing the truth because she doesn't want to be bothered with questions. I'm still processing a lot of this information. A part of me wants to tell, but I'm scared things will get worse. And that's it. That's all the relevant information we have either from the posts or from the comment sections. So now everything makes sense. Now OP doesn't outright say it, but she doesn't deny it either. That Kim is the child born out of the abuse that Aunt Amy suffered at the hands of OP's mom's brother. Now this does explain to me why Aunt Amy reacted the way she did regarding Kim, that she doesn't want anything to do with her and basically doesn't acknowledge her existence, because of course, Kim is a reminder of the most horrible thing that she had to go through. And even though I understand it, I'd still believe it's sad that she's taking it out on Kim, because Kim is not at fault. She was the result of something horrible, but she wasn't the person who caused it. Now, regarding Kim knowing about all of this, I don't know if it's OP's place to tell her sister, but I do believe this is one of those secrets that you cannot just keep hiding forever or sweep it under the rug, because at some point, it's gonna come out and blow up the family. But at this point, that's all just speculation on my part. So now, we move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Can't Stand Ya. Mr. Very Important doesn't want any AC on him in the middle of summer. I work in building operations for some high-rise office buildings in sunny Southern California. I maintain electrical systems, plumbing, HVAC, basically anything within the building I fix. My background is HVAC, with plenty of certifications and experience in how things work. The building I'm currently at has covers on the thermostats to prevent tenants from messing with them. Side note, our HVAC system is a pneumatics system that uses air pressure to operate everything. You need a specialty gauge to check what the pneumatic signal is calling for, heating, cooling, or nothing. This is why we don't let tenants adjust their own thermostats, because without the gauge, you're only guessing what you're doing. Anyways, Mr. Very Important puts in a call. He is way too cold. No problem. I go up and find his thermostat has had the cover pried off and set to 68 degrees, and then half put back on. I check my gauge and it's operating properly for being set at 68. I adjusted back up to 72, which is standard temperature, and let Mr. Very Important know someone had messed with the thermostat and that's why he was too cold. Halfway through telling him, he cuts me off and says, "I don't care about the thermostat. I want these vents shut down. I don't want to feel any air." I try to explain it will be a lot more comfortable in a few minutes, and shutting the vents is not a good idea in the summer. Well, Mr. Very Important isn't having it. After all, he's very important and knows better than me how comfort cooling works, despite my decade-plus experience. And on top of it, he's an absolute C about the whole thing. After being cut off for the third time, I finally had enough and say, "Okay, no problem. You want the vents completely shut?" And he responds, "Yes, if I feel any air blow on me, we're going to have issues that your boss will have to sort out." So I shut the vents completely at the damper at the AC box. No air will come out. Well, I've dealt with very important people before and I know what to expect. So I put a note on the work order. Mr. Very Important asked for no air to come out of the vents in his office despite my objections, so vents have been shut per tenant request. If you're aware, the West Coast is going through a gnarly heat wave right now, so naturally, Mr. Very Important puts in a call to the office. It's too hot! I accept the call, but I go on my way doing my normal duties, which I'm very busy with as we just had 1 of 4 people in our team leave. So it takes me 3 days to get back to Mr. Very Important's office, and he's losing his crap at how hot it is. And to be fair, his offer was like a sauna. I'd be pissed too if I had to work in that office. I ask if he wants his vents opened back to allow the air to flow into his office and cool it down. The dude looks like I just kicked his dog when he realizes closing the vents was his demand that I try to talk him out of. I open them up real quick because it's very easy and I leave. Apparently, he didn't like being called out like that and called my property managers to complain. I'm not sure what they said back to him, but I certainly got a good laugh out of the whole thing. Very well done, OP. You tried to warn him, but he knew better, so he got what he deserved. Hopefully, he learned his lesson. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.